Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel SAP SD and ABAP League Support. Today we'll discuss about e-invoicing interface. So, whenever any transaction takes place in Italy, either local transaction or international transactions, then those invoicing documents should be legally authorized or digitally approved or signatured by Italy government, that is SDI. So here SDI stands for Sistema di Interscambio. So this is an Italian word. What does it mean is that it is about exchange system. The government authority who will do legally verify all the invoicing documents generated from SAP, and if everything is okay, the price, GVAT, and the material details, billing details, everything is correctly updated in the document, then only that will be approved legally. Then the transaction will be called as valid transaction. If something goes wrong, then we'll receive SAP will receive one response from SDI. Okay, so it is not like every country follows this, but few countries follows this. As far as I aware, like Italy, Turkey, Greece, these countries are following this invoicing concept. There are big configuration needs to be done to achieve this invoicing concept, but without doing configuration also, with help of that vendor from outside from SAP who can take care of all this necessary setup. So today we're not going to do any configuration from our end to generate invoicing documents. We will simply generate one outbound IDOC. Okay, that will be sent to that vendor. So vendor will take care of all the requirements, how the document should be prepared based on the data that we are sending to that vendor. Then he will send the data to that SDI government, Italy government. So Italy government digitally signed that document if everything is correctly updated, maintained. Okay, so the flow here is that, so in SAP, an output should be triggered for that invoice. For example, there should be ZSTI output, and it's an IDOC output type. So whenever this output has been triggered, then this will be stored in the application server. That is T code is A11 directory. So in A11 directory, we will physically store all the documents there. So ZST is output type, which will trigger in a IDOC output type. The medium here is that medium is A, ALE distribution. So what it will do whenever this IDOC is triggered, it will create one XML file in this A11 directory in the specified path, whatever we're going to specify. Let me show in the system. If you go to the, if let me log in first. AL11 directory is a T code. It's application directory. You see here, whatever we see the directory here is that the actual directory where this SAP has been installed. It's a C drive location basically. So here we can store the files which generating from our system. So we need to create one new physical path in the C directory with help of our basis team. Then we should configure that in the file transaction in our SAP system. There's one more transaction code called file. Okay, so in the file transaction code, we should do that configuration to store the data in the relevant path. Okay, so once the XML file stored, so what will happen is that the standard system standard SAP system will convert the IDOC data into XML file. XML file from here it will be picked from IBM Sterling. So it might be a new to guys. What is IBM Sterling and all? You can Google it, but I will give be brief about this IBM Sterling. IBM Sterling is an system that will store the file directories basically. Okay, so they are authorized to retrieve data from this SAP system, the files, and they will keep their system, and then from here that will be shared with the outside vendor. That is, so in my case it's HYPERDOCK, and you can Google it also here. HYPERDOCK is available everywhere. It's a vendor. Unless we can call it as an EDOK cockpit. EDOK, HYPERDOCK or EDOK. From EDOK, it will be sent to SDI, who will legally authorize that invoicing document. If everything is okay, then they will approve it. If something goes wrong, then they will reject that document, and they will notify to HYPERDOCK. What's the reason of the rejection? Then HYPERDOCK, it will come back to us like this. Right, the forwarding is SAP, then A11 directory, IBM Sterling, HYPERDOCK, and SDI. If something goes wrong, not approved in SDI means we'll get a notification in the reverse way. HYPERDOCK, Sterling, A11, like this, we'll get that response. So this is a simple flow that about e-invoicing document. But in our system, we're not going to generate anything. We're just generating one IDOC, which will be stored as an XML file. That's it. The format of the e-invoicing document, how it should be look like, and what logo that we should use. And as per the government requirement, the data in the document will be prepared by the HYPERDOCK only. Then that document will be shared with SDI. SDI will approve that. This is a simple flow of Italy E-invoice. Remember that this is the flow in Italy. It's a mandatory in Italy government. So whoever does business in Italy country, they should definitely do the e-invoicing part, or else the transaction is not acceptable. It's a local transaction or international transaction, sir. So this is a simple flow, and what I will do, I will go to the FS document for this e-invoicing interface, and remember that it is not about e-invoicing, and it's all about that 810 interface. 810 interface. This is about invoicing interface. So far, we have discussed about 850 PO or order create, and 855, and I think 850 is for PO or order acknowledgement. The interface playlist you can see we have discussed already that 850 interface and 855 interface, and this is about 810 interface. So 810 interface or e-invoice, because both are IDA concepts only, right? So we can call it as an 810 interface as well. Now let me go through the FS for this e-invoicing interface. Already discussed about one FS regarding one enhancement or report changes. You can go through that. I will provide you the link in the description also. And today we will see one more FS document for this e-invoice, Italy E-invoice. So here we should specify the version, okay, and date. So version in the sense, in the same FS, same functionality, we may require to do some additional requirement in the future. In that case, we should keep on increase the version. Initially, when the development has been started, initially, with the very first time, the version should be 1.0, and if you get any issues or anything requirement, any additions to be done to the requirement means That time it will become 1.1. Again, if you get anything else, 1.2, 1.3 like this. The version should be keep on updating like this. And we should mention the document name here. And in few words, we mentioned about this interface like this is an invoicing interface for Italy, and which is going through HYPERDOCK to Italy Tax Agency SDI. And here in the amendment history, we should keep on updating the versions. Okay, version 1.1 done on this date, the ticket number, and who did it. Like this, we should keep on add the history. So why we need to do like this is that in future, if we left the organization, if someone comes to our place, then they will go through this document and understand what changes has been carried out, when it has been carried out, what's the ticket number. So they will come to know all the details about this complete functionality end to end. And if we have any documents, then we should mention the document name and the person who created the document. And here we should mention the quality reviews. Basically, the quality review will be our team leader manager only. Internal quality review will be happen. Then we'll send this document to the external also. External means our leadership team. They will also review this one, business basically. And approval. So who is going to approve it? If we don't know these details, we can leave it blank. It's not mandatory. Once we get approvals, then later also we can update this information. It's not mandatory that we should update immediately when we drafting the FS. No, not like that. We can do later also. And it's a content basically. So which page, which what content we have, the page number here and that content here. So the first one is overview and scope. Second one is detailed functional requirements. So this is basically content for every FS. The FS may be related to interface, reports, enhancements, workflows, anything, any functionality, any rise of objects. This is the basic FS preparation. And here we should mention that again that development ID, the rise of ID basically, right? And in the solution manager, we will be storing all the FS documents. And to store every document in a solution manager or Solman, we should get that rise of ID. That ID should be mentioned here. It's a basic library where we can see all the documents. And here we should mention the ticket number. And functional owner is the person who is developing this functionality and any reference documents. And coming to here, it's a functional area what to see, and it's an interface, right? Yeah, it's interface, and it's not a global change. It's a change relevant for Italy only. If it's a global means we should mention global. Okay, so this is the description of this requirement. In case of Italy invoices, that should be legally authorized by SDI government. SDI nothing but exchange system in Italy that will go through HYPERDOCK from Sterling. So what the dependencies here is that dependencies means how it will work basically. How it will work means it will work whenever output IDOC output has been triggered from ZSTI output type. So the ZSTI output type will trigger when IDOC output type the medium is A here, and later it will be converted as an XML file, then stored in A11 directory application server. From application server, Sterling team will pick it up, and then Sterling team will transfer the data to HYPERDOCK or EDOK cockpit. EDOK, okay. EDOK is a vendor here. You see here file transfer between Sterling and EDOK system assumption. So in under the assumption section, we are mentioning that how it will work and what steps we should follow. So in assumption, we should follow everything. If we miss something, it won't work end to end. So whatever I discussed now, same thing has been mentioned here also. I will try to share this document with you guys. You can go through this later. Again, in the security requirement also, we have mentioned something here. File transmission from SAP to EDOK takes place on secured and safe connection setup via IBM Sterling. Okay, the Sterling is handled by IBM only. You can search it to Google. You will understand so many things about this Sterling. And then from Sterling, it will pass to EDOK cockpit. Sorry, EDOK interface. That's the vendor. Then EDOK will transfer this to SDI. So here we have mentioned the frequency. In a day, invoice will be created several times in system. But what Sterling team will do, every 5 minutes once, they will try to pull the data. Sterling team will pull the data from application layer A11 directory, and they will try to transfer the file to HYPERDOCK. So in Sterling, batch job kind of thing works, and they will frequently pull the data because we don't know right when exactly the invoice takes place in our SAP system. So every 5 minutes once the job runs from Sterling end, and they will keep on collecting the data from application server. That's what they have specified here, and it might take even 1 minute to transfer the data to HYPERDOCK. The job runs in 5 minutes, but it will take less than 1 minute to transfer the data to HYPERDOCK. So here we can see that how this works. This works based on the output type. Applications V3, we know right? We have different applications are there in SAP system, and the table here is that T6. One second, let me show you that it's a T681V, T681V usages. Hmm. Okay, so if you see here, we have several applications are here. Coming to V1, V1 is a sales output type, order output type. V2 is shipping output type, with this billing output type. Like this, for every area we have some applications are there. Like this, for invoice output type, applications V3, and we are developing one custom output type ZSTI, and this is about functional specification. We know that right. For every IDOC invoice output type, the message type will become INVOIC. Basic type will be INVOIC02. So this config should be done in W20 partner profile. Then it will trigger the output IDOC successfully. And as per the business need, we need to prepare the new condition table, output condition table, for which combination the output should trigger. So basically, we'll follow these combinations. The first combination is that sales are distribution channel division and sales document type. Second is again sales area, billing type. Third is sales area, sales office. Last one is generic one, sales area wise. So as per the business need, we can put in the right sequence as they say. Then we should prepare access sequence for that. And this is the sequence of the tables in access sequence. And we should specify that in the output invoice output procedure. And we can mention in which step that procedure should be assigned, and which routine that we are going to assign to the output in the requirement routine. Basically, the standard requirement routine is 62 only, that will be using for all the invoicing output types as a requirement. So this will verify. Remember that this output will be successfully triggered whenever accounting document has been generated for that invoice. Posting has been done. The validation happening and the posting has been done are not based on that BBRK table. The field here is that RFBSK. Posting status. If it is C means posting has been successfully completed. Whenever it is C, then only that will be done. Again, these are the basic things about IDOC, and again message type, basic type. the partner type, application, output type. The process code for this one is just D09, and this is the function model which will be triggering this IDOC. And these are some basic things about FS, and here we need to mention error handling things. So what will happen if IDOC fails in our system? If it fails in SAP system means we should verify why that has been failed, and we should trigger that manually. And if it fails while reaching to HYPERDOCK means Sterling team will have to look at that. And coming here we should specify the steps, the testing scenarios we should specify here. Testing means simple, right? Whenever invoice has been created and posting has been done, then only output should be triggered. Suppose if invoice has been created, posting not happened, then output shouldn't trigger. So we should check test both positive and negative scenarios. And this is for Italy only, and this output shouldn't trigger for any other countries. That should also we should test as a regression testing. Yeah, this is simply about this FS as well as this e-invoicing interface. In upcoming sessions, we'll really discuss e-invoicing concept for different country as well. As I said, right, in Turkey also we have this e-invoicing concept, and Greece we have this e-invoicing. We will see how it works in different countries. This is how it works in Italy, and in any other project for Italy, they'll may follow different flow, different way of configuration steps they will follow. But in my project, this is how we will follow. Okay, thanks everyone. That's it about this today's video. We'll meet in the next video. Bye now.